embrace you here.
What's going on YouTube? The Black Hokage here, aka TBH, and to be honest, Watch Dogs 1 was a major disappointment for a multitude of reasons. I was critical of the game, but Ubisoft was kind enough to still supply me with an early copy of Watch Dogs 2 so that I could bring you guys this day one review. So shout out to them for that, and after no life in this game for the past 26 hours, surprisingly, I have mostly positive things to say about it.
What have you found? Cops shooting suspects, planting evidence, stealing and lying and cheating the system just like the old days, only now CTOS is their alibi.
Operational discretion. Look, you bring me proof, and I'll back your play.
The story of Watch Dogs 2 is an entertaining one for the most part. You play as Marcus Holloway in Ubisoft's rendition of the Bay Area. CTOS has been upgraded to 2.0, and with that comes new problems. Numerous corporations with political ties in Silicon Valley are tapping into that infrastructure's data and using it against the people of the San Francisco area. To combat this, Marcus joins DedSec, which is a hacktivist cell on a mission to expose anything they can find on these companies to the people. All this sounds like heavy stuff, but the game never takes itself too seriously. Even the main villain is a yoga hipster with a man bun. In place of Aiden Pearce's bootleg Batman story is a tale of a group of friends trying to do some good protecting the public that doesn't even know that it needs protecting, and you'll have fun doing so because Marcus is a solid character overall. He's book and street smart, which is refreshing because God knows us people of color are tired of the black stereotypes in video games. Watch Dogs 2 is just charming, vibrant, exciting, funny, and some of that has to do with the city of San Francisco is a perfect place to set this game. The culture of the Bay Area perfectly fits the tone of the game. Exploring the city was just as fun as the missions at times. The hilly nature of the city made an interesting place to explore as well as the people who inhabit it. You can hack anyone with a phone on the street and listen to their conversations. I've seen dogs humping, people walking around vlogging with selfie sticks, and so much more funny stuff. This is all complemented by the fact that Watch Dogs 2 is a very vibrant game. Ubisoft's use of an extensive color palette really brought the hippie city to life. The water has this beautiful greenish hue to it, the Golden Gate Bridge really pops, and everything else in between is eye candy too. It's refreshing to see so much color in a day and age where gaming is all about being dark and edgy. It really enhanced the missions, because the missions are full of personality like the city. Yes, there's a bigger goal to take down these companies, but in between you'll find yourself taking down a parody of Martin Scarelli, hacking pedos who are hiding cameras and toys, and swatters who keep attacking Twitch streamers.
Well, that's because you're a straight up fuckboy, Rickroll 92, and you deserve to perish with all the other norms. You wanna get swatted? Because I can make that happen for you. I'll kill a fucking cop and then eat a sandwich. Crust cut off, ho. Cops can suck my big fat dick like the tricks they are, and suck on the barrel of my AK while they're down there. Nice.
The game does a great job of keeping things fun or remaining in tune with today's society and internet culture. The main story took me like 20 hours to finish, but I did spend a good amount of time doing side missions as well. That's because I found all the activities in the game to be fun. Side missions including kart racing, drone racing, dirt bike racing, being an Uber driver, painting graffiti around the city, taking selfies at city landmarks, fighting gangs, and so much more. Like I said earlier, I spent 26 hours in the game and I still had a shit ton of stuff to do on my map. I think you could easily squeeze 40 hours out of this game, and that's because of customization. It's heavy in this game. There are several skill trees that provide a variety of different ways to play the game. A lot of the hacking is still on some press X type stuff, but you're doing cooler things now when you press X. Things like controlling people's cars, remotely turning people's phones into explosive Galaxy Note 7s and more. They did bring back the connected dots hacks, but I failed a lot more in the game because they made it harder. Often it would be an entire room you had to hack with a timer going off to increase the pressure. Your drone and RC racer can be upgraded as well, but if that's not enough, then know that there's stores riddled all throughout the city that allow you to change up your clothes as you see fit. But that's not all. Customization is heavy in your loadout too. All your weapons are created via a 3D printer, and that same 3D printer can produce paint jobs for your weapons and gadgets. The best part of it all is I changed my look a dozen times throughout my playthrough, and every time a cutscene would play, Marcus was dressed in the proper outfit. It's that attention to detail that I appreciate because you're going to want to stand out when you're playing multiplayer. That is seamless, by the way. It was in the last game, but it's more front and center in this game, I feel like. In the last game, the co-op was very limited, but in Watch Dogs 2, Ubisoft gives players a ton of different mission types they can tackle with friends. Most of them involve breaking into somewhere and stealing data, but you can also invade other people's games and steal their data. I personally found it annoying to be in the middle of a mission only to have some buffoon hop in my game and interrupt it with their mayhem, but thank God Ubisoft offered the option for people to turn it off. Lord knows if they didn't, then it might have been hard to appreciate the little things that Ubisoft fixed. They really listened to the community on this one. Fast travel is now present, so getting around the city is much easier. The game actually has radio stations with DJs and funny commentary, plus the music in the game is fitting for the area with plenty of West Coast artists making appearances. The driving is improved too. It's still a little loose, but better nonetheless, and the co-op is easier to set up. I remember in the last game you had to fumble through the confusing menus for that, but in this game you just go to one of the purple missions on your map, press start, and it'll pair you up with one random online if you don't have friends to play with. But enough of all the positive talk. Let's talk about some things that I don't like about the game. The villain and the story is just kind of there. I didn't even know he was the main villain until later in the game when he begins to show up more because he barely shows up in the beginning. They didn't really give his backstory and his motives were weak. I feel like what separates the good from the great is taking the time to really establish what drives a villain. I think Ubisoft dropped the ball on that one. He was just some rich asshole doing what rich assholes do, and that's a shame too because the ending sucks. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it was lackluster as hell. Like, I had to infiltrate some of the most heavily guarded tech companies in the world, and in the end, once the dust settled, I was like, that's it? It didn't make it worth dealing with some of the game's shitty controls to the present. This is me nitpicking, but when you're driving on the PS4, in order to change the radio station, you have to hold down the touchpad in the middle. Then while you're doing that, flick the right analog stick left or right. That means your finger has to come off the left analog stick that controls the car. So often I wouldn't switch the radio stations because I was afraid I'd crash. Yeah, crashing is a problem with this game, and not just your car either. The game actually crashed on me a couple times, and the worst part is it was on the final mission. I'm like, really, Ubisoft? I still finished the game, but I thought I'd bring it up because the people deserve to know. Y'all also deserve to know that Watch Dogs 2 has frame rate problems. And it's the biggest problem with the game too. I don't know how it runs on Xbox or PC, but on PS4, Watch Dogs 2 struggles to maintain 30 FPS when driving through the city. I notice it only happens when you're driving fast, which makes me think the game struggles to render the city at a speed in which you're moving. So what you get is a game that will damn near lock up on you at times. And the worst part is it never corrects itself. It's not like a moment of frame rate drops due to an increase of action, then it goes back to normal. No, once the screen starts to chug, you have to restart the whole game because it won't fix itself. It's so annoying too because I had to restart my game over 10 times, but hey, what's a Ubisoft game without shitty optimization, right? Final thoughts. This is a quick summary of everything discussed today for all you slow mofos out there that was half asleep. On the positive side of things, Watch Dogs 2 features a cool protagonist / group of friends. Hacking is much more fun and engaging. There's deep customization, tons of content. It's much more lighthearted. Driving and music is improved. The game is gorgeous and the online is seamless. On the negative side of things, the villain was meh. The ending was underwhelming. It has questionable controls. There's some crashing and the frame rate struggles from time to time. Look, I have more positive to say about Watch Dogs 2 than negative, and that's because the game is far better than the original game in every way. I can tell that within the first hour of my playthrough. Dare I say this is one of my favorite games of the year. We'll see if it makes it in my top 10 games of the year when the year is over and the dust settles, but for now, I have no problem recommending this game. Ubisoft fucks up a lot, but I'm not a hater. I give credit when it's due. They finally got one. I think it's worth 60. The game is fun and it has a crap ton of content, but if the frame rate thing bothers you, then I can respect your decision to wait for them to patch it up. And those are my thoughts on Watch Dogs 2. Feel free to share yours in the comment section below, and when you're finished, make sure to leave a like on this video if you found it informative. Please subscribe to my channel and subscribe to my second channel over at youtube.com/GIupdates. Next up on the review list, Titanfall 2.